Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Radio Academy webinar. Today, we're here to talk about RAMP, the Radio Academy mentoring program, which is a really important part of what we do at the Radio Academy, soon to be the Audio Academy. Part of our mission to help people across the industry develop their skills and realise their potential wherever they want to be. So RAMP is really about making your professional dreams come true. It's a wonderfully inspiring thing to be part of. What we've heard from people who have taken part, our mentees, is that it's been transformative. And certainly as someone who's been a mentor for many years, it's a wonderful experience that I've gained a lot from as well. So here to tell you more about it and the process and what it involves, I'm going to hand over to Adele Cross, who is chair of RAMP, and we're also joined by Fran Plowright, who is the RAMP lead. Adele, over to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us on this lunchtime. I promise it won't take long. We want to just get a chance to whet your appetite when it comes to what we're doing on RAMP. So again, my name is Adele Cross. I've been lucky enough to do this for the past 4 or 5 years, in fact. And over that time, I've seen so many people grow and learn and develop and question themselves in terms of their talent, in terms of what they can do, in terms of their dreams coming true, as Dixie has already said. So I'm just going to go through a few things and explain. We are looking at applications closing on Sunday. So you've got time still to get your ideas together, get your CV together. But Sunday, applications close. And then the week after that, we shall start judging. And what I want to do is make sure that we use the next 20 minutes or so to really inspire you, that we will be answering any questions, we'll be clearing up any doubts you may have, and also we'll be whetting your appetite to see what is to come. So I will now hand over to Fran Plowright, who is our RAMP lead, to tell us more about what they can expect during the courses, what they can expect during the leadership courses and the things they're going to learn, and also to Make Parry, who was actually one of our mentees last year. Over to you, Fran. Can you hear me, Fran?
All right, Adele, Fran's not with us quite yet.
Okay, then I shall go over to Make Parry. This is live, everyone.
Hello.
Fun. Hi, how are you doing?
Good? Fine, I'll pick up from here. Thanks, yeah, good, not bad, thank you.
I remember meeting you last year, wonderful human being that you are. Can you just tell me, first of all, why did you even apply to RAMP?
So my background is that I worked at the BBC for since 2005, actually, and before then I worked in a TV company. So I was quite young when I started. I started working at about 5, and I'd got to a point where I'd recently left the BBC about 2 years, and I found myself as a freelancer working in radio, and I saw this opportunity, and I thought it would be a positive move for me to kind of get a new network, to get some people from different backgrounds, to get to know them, to get and different areas around the UK as well. I lived in Wales, and it's a busy, vibrant industry, but pretty small, and you kind of know a lot of people there. So it was just to get out of there, and that's exactly what it has been. But that was the main objective, was to just to extend the network, to learn from others and to work with others. And as we all kind of move our way through our lives and through our careers, to get to know people, basically.
So how is that objective realized?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the most positive thing I've enjoyed. I mean, there's a lot of positive things about RAMP, but the one I do enjoy is the cohort. And we have as everyone does, we're a group of, I'm not quite sure, but it's about the 18, 20 mark, I think, individuals. And we're all on a WhatsApp group. We were just chatting yesterday. In fact, one of the group have brought in. Actually, there's a collaboration between 2 people in the group who didn't know each other previously, and they've launched the podcast together. And they've got 2 episodes out. Have You Frozen Your Eggs Yet is the name of the podcast. If anyone wants to have a quick listen, plug that for them. And we were all chatting together. But it's more than that, really. We met during the course of the project, if you like, and we met a few times in London and in different events, and in the Radio Academy Festival a couple of months ago as well. A lot of us were there, and it's nice to get to know people and meeting, obviously not just the cohort, Adele, but people like yourself, like Chris North, Fran, obviously, Dixie, Nikki, who works at the Radio Academy as well. All these people who've come on board, and all the various people from Audio UK, for instance. I've been, kind of on these sessions with us. You know, it's been a huge kind of thing to get to know people, and you know, that's just continuing really, you know. Yeah.
What did you learn about the industry that you're in from being on this course, this cohort?
Well, I think, you know, I mean, I think it's fair to say that everyone is what establishes me that you know, we've worked in. Oh, Franz just sent me a message. Can you share the link with me, please? Okay. I've learned I'm pretty good with technology. No,
Multitasking,
yeah,
basically. Yeah.
And you know, we as Chris said when he and yourself actually, you interviewed me and Chris, and I think it was either there or either, you know, afterwards, Chris explained to me, you've got to this stage, mate, because you're experienced, because you've got a lot to offer, and you've offered a lot over these years. And it made me step back and realize, yes, I have worked in this industry for 20 years, you know, and I've been through these stages of, you know, I've started at the bottom and I've worked my way up, and you know, we're producing, we're engineering, we're doing lots of different things, and the industry is continuously developing. You know, podcasts are kind of still in the infancy really, and every year goes by, there's new ways of bringing stuff there. And that's what I've learned, is that, you know, we've got a lot to give back and we've got a lot to learn, and it's by working together that you get somewhere. And you know, being freelance as I was, and I know people on this call, there might be freelance people here, but there might be people from different, you know, backgrounds who work maybe with an office every day, but reaching out of your usual network and just touching base with people who are kind of like-minded and who you think, oh yeah, I could actually do something with them. That does, you know, it's a really good positive move for anyone. Yeah.
In terms of professional understanding, you basically worked out that you're very good at what you do, and you established yourself where you're at the minute. Now, as a personal thing, in terms of your personality, your characteristics, what's one thing you learned about yourself, about Make, during this whole cohort experience?
What's the one? God, put me on the spot here. You know, that I'm not going to answer directly. I'm not sure, to be honest with you, Adele. That's you know, I just enjoy working with people, I guess, you know, and I'm always looking for the new opportunities. And even being on a call like this, you know, I've been on a couple of things Franz actually put me up to, and I guess she's pulled other people in as well to do other things, talking with the various groups she works with. But I enjoy the working with people aspect of it, and I enjoy creating people and being creative and thinking through things. That's what I've learned, is that you can do various things. And yeah, it's just been a really positive experience. But what have I learned about myself is that it's just ongoing, isn't it? Like, you're just continuously developing. You don't reach somewhere. You just, you know, this is a ramp, is for a midpoint career. You know, and you know, I probably got 20 years of work ahead of me, and yeah, it's just a good time to take stock and to realize where you are, and to step back a little bit and look at what, you know, what's available in the industry, you know, where the industry might be heading, and how to realize some of the ideas. Because I bet there's people on this call, and there's people who've done this course who have got ideas, and it's just touching base with those people. And you'll find on, you know, the next ramp here, if it's similar to ours, you'll find people with a technical background, people with a creative background. You'll find these people, and I've reached out to them individually, because you know where they slot into the jigsaw, you know, of creating something. And it's by collaboration that great things are achieved.
That is a tagline. Great things achieved by collaboration. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll hand over now to Fran. Hello, Fran.
Hello.
I will say, can you give us an idea about what we can expect in terms of learning, in terms of leadership, etc., that we'll get in the next 6 months on this course?
Sure. And I'm sorry about being a little bit late to the call. I was watching from the other side and I was trying to get in. It was quite a funny kind of meta technical moment. So thank you, Meg, for letting me in. There's a couple of things I just wanted to pick up on what Make said, because it's very important. Is that one thing I found as the sort of ramp lead running the program is that we have mid to senior level, senior radio, audio, podcasting, visualizing people who are digital content storytellers, all working, some for big organizations and companies, and others like Make are freelance who work for and with lots of other collaborators and bodies like BBC Wales, etc., but actually are often on their own and quite isolated. And what I found very powerful about Ramp, and I think that other mentees will concur, is that it was a place where you feel maybe less alone and you have another community where you can share some of these issues. And that felt very powerful, not just from Make, but so much of the feedback that I got, that it's 19 other people who are in similar boats at different times. You meet people at different junctions when you're coming into a job, going out of a job, but it's a place to feel that you have an infrastructure and support. And people don't always get invited to that Christmas dinner or you might get invited to several if you're lucky, but you're not in one place, you're sort of in many different organizations. So it's a space for 6 months where you feel you belong. And if Ramp works well, it's actually then an ongoing network, exactly like Nate was just saying, where you get commissioned by people to make things, you collaborate with others to make things, and you stay in touch. So you support each other through the rest of their career. So I suppose from the networking point of view, I'd say there's a lot of space for networking with other like-minded peers. Some you may already know, some you might have heard of, and some you haven't yet got to know, but you will work with each other. And as you said, Make, off the back of it, there's a podcast that's just come together, and that was purely through an introduction from one mentee to another and said, I think they'd be a good fit. And now they've got a podcast launched. And also lots of the jobs that people have got as a result of being on the programme, one has definitely come through a recommendation of her mentor and has now got a very big job in podcasting. So I'd say in terms of networking opportunities, huge and ongoing. Leadership and development skills during the course of the programme, that it will be written in the copy, but what we try and do is have over 6 months a kind of a smorgasbord of different things which we hope will support somebody at that point in their careers. So some of those will be with an individual mentor whom we bespoke pair with a mentee and try and hope that will be a very good fit. And that mentor and mentee has 6 sessions that are either online or in person, and hopefully a bit of both. So that happens. We then also schedule some leadership sessions which we feel will be pertinent to the makeup of the group. And so that might be around imposter syndrome. Last year we did that. We also did one with your good, lovely self around pitching and about how life's one big pitch, really, and how to be thinking about pitching oneself, because as we all know on the call, people joining us and us that are on the panel, that actually we will all meet each other at all different stages in our careers and will be employing each other, commissioning each other, working for or working alongside. And so knowing that you're kind of constantly pitching actually in a good way, and building really good connections is really important. So the leadership sessions are really important. What else did I did? I did one on, we had a mentee, Nicole Logan, who was a mentee on Ramp a few years ago and who is now doing amazing things at Goalhanger as an exec development person. So she talked about her journey. And so we had a really nice mix of different people talking about their roles. And the idea of those is to kind of resonate, we hope, with different mentees and skills and things tools that they might find useful for themselves as they're on that journey. And then the other very important thing that hasn't been mentioned yet, which actually Make was very kind to give me a bit of a feedback on how the action learning set side of things were for people, is that we create a space where we run these action learning facilitation sets, which are very much a space for like-minded peers to come together in a confidential setting where anything that goes on in those Zoom calls, so we basically put people in a group that they'll stay in, and they get 3 facilitated by myself action learning sets, to which they are invited to bring a problem or an opportunity along. And with their group, they get a chance to kind of break it down, and it gets quite meaty and interesting, and really talk very honestly about where they're at and what that opportunity or that problem is. And the power of a group helping someone to solve a problem is much greater than a person on their own, which kind of comes to your point, Make, about collaborating. Like once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got something you want to say there.
No, just on the action learning thing is like, I've mentioned to yourself, Fran, before that, coming into, like a sharing environment wasn't something that kind of appealed to me, really. I like to think of myself, I'm not someone who needed to do that, but I was so surprised. And, and not only do you learn a lot and you realize, that some of these issues are just common and there's lots of ways, and by sharing these issues, you just move forward and you realize things. But it's also a really good way to get to know your group even further. It's one way of meeting them, and what do you do? Yeah, I do this, I do that, and the other. Okay, fine. But when you share a problem, you can see deeper into their better insights into their life, into their working life, and and what affects them. And there's a common ground there usually between lots of people who, and they're really small groups. You're talking 4 or 5 people, or with Fran talking through a problem. And I was so surprised about how much that benefited me. And in fact, after the first one of not looking forward to it, that was one of the most positive aspects of the project as well for me. Is it just struck home, and that just talking through things, you'll understand when you're on it how effective actually is. I think
Yeah, so thanks, mate. That's really helpful. So I think with the leadership sessions, the networking sessions that we try and ensure happen, which I'll come on to briefly, and then the time that you get with your mentor, which really we try and encourage people to be really prepared for those sessions, to have done the heavy lifting, as I call it, between the sessions, so that then when they do meet with their mentor, there's actual progress, because otherwise it's just another meeting or another coffee. And actually, we want those meetings to count. Mentors are very busy, mentees are very busy. So if you're giving yourself, and we think it's an important piece of development space that the whole program allows, make sure that you've done your homework for your mentor, no matter how busy and however many deadlines, because this is your time for your professional development. The action learning set is another aspect of that. And then, as I said, the growing network of peers and support that the Radio Academy team are able to give through the people that we know, networks, things. Just if you say something, often by magic something happens, or there are many hands, like many light hands or something like that. It does feel like there's a kind of an energy that is moving positively towards things happening. And that felt, when we had our graduation in July, the energy and what I've had feedback from that was very much that. And people are now going to each other to work and also ask things. So I hope that's covered it. Oh yeah, just on the networking, I think obviously it's for everybody in the UK. We try to not make it too London centric, though, where I am based and where a lot of the physical stuff happens in person is there, but we ensure that the action learning sets happen online, that the mentees, we try and possibly connect mentees with mentors who are in that same part of the country, or enable it to be possible to happen. And then also there are some convenings, like we launched the program in person, and we'll have an interesting speaker, and we very much want everyone to be able to join, so that everybody can meet everyone that's on the programs, not just the fellow mentees, but all the other mentors and other Radio Academy people too, because that's networking. It doesn't have to just solely be with your mentor. There can be other connections. And then hopefully we'll do the same thing again, but we've had a lovely bringing together at the podcast show, the great industry biggest global podcast show there is, that happens in May, and hopefully we'll be able to do that again, so that mentees get the invitation to a ticket for the day. They're quite pricey, and then we'll program something at that. And again, another networking coming together when we graduate, and we're going to potentially try and fit another social in as well, because feedback we had was that people really enjoy that, and they're hungry and they're crying out to come together and to just solve problems and be in a room and hear how other people are doing things. So that's the kind of swathe of it. I don't know whether you've talked about the nuts and bolts of the sort of application process yet, Adele, or if you're going to come to that.
I mentioned it, but I want to ask one quick question again. What is the process exactly of matching mentors to mentees? How do we do that?
Well, it's not an exacting science, but I think what we try and do is be first of all, we carefully shortlist and select and interview our wonderful mentees, and we're normally overwhelmed by how many brilliant people there are out there. So we select the mentees, and as we're doing that, we're bearing in mind we have a lovely bank of goodwill and brilliant industry mentors, which Dixie, you can talk about as well if you want, but there's so many wonderful, brilliant friends of the Radio Academy whose goodwill seems to be limitless, and they also get a lot of reciprocity and out of being a mentor. So we have a lovely bank of people, but we also really take into account who the mentees are who are applying, what their skill sets are, what the issues that they'd like to really grapple with whilst they're on the programme are, so that when we do the pairing, we're hoping that more or less we've got quite a good match, whether that's like-minded personalities, that will be career skill sets, it'll be a combination. And, we felt that we were pretty successful with that. So that's how we do it. We get mentees to say who they would quite like as an ideal mentor, but we don't ask mentees to choose. It's very much a kind of, tell us who in an ideal world you might like, or the kind of person, and then we do our best to give somebody to who we feel would be a really good fit for them as all-rounder, and also maybe a good fit for somebody who might push them and prod them a bit and support and grow in a good way. Because mentoring is about a critical friendship. It isn't just about saying you're brilliant. It's about saying you're brilliant and how can I help you to be even more brilliant.
Absolutely. Got a question coming in saying, how complicated is the application form?
That's a very good question. It's not that complicated or that long. We just ask a series of questions, which I don't know if Nikki's even on the call. I haven't got the application form in front of me, but it's not complicated. It's just you being you, answering a few questions about who you are, what you'd hope to get out of having a mentor, and what you'd like to work on. I guess your goals, where you're kind of hoping to go career wise, so we can get a bit of a steer on that. A little bit more about yourself and what you're working on, and areas that you'd like to, yeah, I can think lean into, I suppose, for want of a better phrase. It's not a complicated process though. And yeah, we can also support with that, or you can send an audio video note if it would be more helpful than writing it too. There are other, you know, other ways of applying other than just an application form. But I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and I guess too also it's about knowing yourself with the application form. It's about you doing the work on what you want and what you need so that we can possibly find a way to kind of match that, essentially, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, it's not a selective process and there aren't right, wrong answers either, because the answers are about you. It's more that we can see that it would be a good fit for you to be on the programme at the right stage in your career, when we feel that you'd really need this and we can add value. That's what we hope we would be able to do.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So I will quickly go through the.
Oh, there's one more question, Adele, just about
right?
the app. After you put in the application form, are there interviews? So yes, is the answer to that.
Yeah, in a word, yes. Yes, there are. But in these interviews, again, it's about you. It's about your inspiration. It's about where you come from in terms of your mentality, in terms of your personality, in terms of where we can fit. So the interviews are there. Applications are there. This I can neatly move on to the process now. Then
Fantastic.
So, isn't that like, have you worked it out or something?
What a segue! What
right?
a segue!
So yes, so Sunday we will have applications. We'll be closing at midnight on Sunday. There is still time, guys, to get your applications in. And again, the application is about yourself and what you want and your dreams and your ambitions. It's not about right or wrong or yes or no. It's about you. So applications in on Sunday. We'll have a panel of judges judging for the next 2 weeks or so. Interviews will begin the 3rd of December to the 10th of December, ideally. And we're hoping that the 15th of December, in that week sometime, we can give you the decisions once and for all, so you can have a nice Christmas or Hanukkah or just a break. So that's basically what we're looking at. We hope we have at least answered some questions, got you thinking about things. I'd like to hand back to Dixie just to round up, but good luck. Please get involved, because that's why we're here, and you will learn so much from it if you take part. Over to Dixie.
Thank you, Adele, and thanks, Meg, and thanks, Fran. Can I just add as well that the point and purpose of the Radio Academy, the Audio Academy, is we are a charity that we've been around for nearly 50 years, you know, nearly half the life of radio. And when Fran talks about the sort of convening power we have and the people that are members of the Radio Academy, the people that are part of the Radio Academy and join in with our events, we have access to the most phenomenal resource of talent and expertise right across the audio industry. And it's a wonderful thing to be able to tap into. So when it comes to matching you with a mentor, when it comes to finding people to look at your application and assess whether or not RAMP is something that will work for you, when it comes to, the word interviews, they're conversations, aren't they really, Adele? I mean, that's what we're having. We're just trying to work out if RAMP is going to be able to help you and be something that is going to be part of your professional development, and that we're going to be able to, and it's also a question of us being able to match you with somebody who can really help you with your career. But when it comes to doing that, we think very carefully about it, and we have got an awful lot of people to help us do that thinking, and they're brilliant and they're generous with their time and they are experts, and they are all people. The reason they do it is because they're all people who love radio, love audio, and because somebody once opened the door for them and they want to do it for other people as well. So it is generosity of spirit that drives this programme, but it is your talent that will take it forward. So we look forward to receiving those applications. Fran, anything else you wanted to add?
I mean, actually, exactly what you just said about the generosity of spirit. I feel that is kind of in the waters of the entire program, and it really is that. It is. There's a lot of goodwill to want to support people to do well, actually, and there's something about the program that the reason I wanted to do it again this year is I really enjoyed that. It's infectious as well, so I think it just helps you come off the back of it feeling a bit more excited. And if you're feeling like you need a little bit of a pep in your step and a bit of inspiration about next steps, I hope that it might be able to help with that. So yeah, I agree with you on that. And then the only other thing to add is that people often ask if you are offered a place on the course, we wouldn't tell you about your mentor allocation until quite soon before the program starts. That kind of happens then, because that's a bit of as discussed, it's kind of a little bit of alchemy and magic dust and us moving things around. And so we'll do that nearer the time and obviously let you know what those dates are. But yeah, very much looking forward to hearing about how the application process goes and meeting some of you soon. Good luck.
Brilliant. Thank you, Fran. Meg, thank you for sharing your experience and for you've been very articulate about the joy and the difference that it's meant to you and the pleasure that you've got from it. So thank you very much indeed. And Adele, thank you very much for leading this program. It's a really, really important part of what we do. Looking forward to meeting everyone on RAMP in 2026.